Woodcraft Supply in Harrisburg, PA. An hour before the meeting start time, Club President Tim Starliper and Secretary Randy Smith arrive with the gear in a big heavy tub.
Go ahead and worry about talking. All right.
Randy trundles the gear into the classroom at the back of the store. Randy and Tim will do the setup on the workbenches in front of the folding chairs. This evening will be a sharpening clinic, so there's no on-lathe demo.
Yeah, this is actually a temporary storage space, and as you can see, it gets a little jumbled up here when we get it into the. Now, obviously, with a setup like this, we do wind up with cables running, well, everywhere. Here, I sent you a PDF file. So our setup for out here then is one, we try to run everything off of one power strip. Otherwise you get ground loops. In video, ground loops appear as a line that's kind of just like slowly rolling down. In audio, ground loop just goes because it doesn't know the words. So if we were doing a lathe demo, on top of the safety shield we would put a camera that basically catches these guys, the crowd, the audience, the gallery. And we'd have another one there that is right down on the business part, the business area of the lathe.
And these are HDMI cams?
Yeah. Yep. We'd have another one, like if the lathe would typically be about where I'm standing. So we'd have another camera over here with a shot straight up the tailstock of the lathe.
Yep.
It's a Lenovo Tiny.
Okay.
This is our Zoom PC.
Okay.
And we use the store's wireless. But the PC is just running standard Windows 10. Between meetings, I'll keep it at home. Usually up, and I'll hook it up a couple days before the meeting. That way, if there's any updates pending for it or anything like that, it can download and process all those updates, so that when we get here, we don't have to worry about the whole. Okay, well, let's wait for a while the PC updates. It is. I mean, this is a full PC in a very small chassis.
So it's equivalent to a Mac Mini.
Something like that, yeah. Except this runs Windows or Linux or whatever. So this PC has a wireless connection, but it also has an Ethernet jack, so I can plug it in, and if we need to. Well, now we don't have Ethernet here. They don't have Ethernet in the store. They just have the wireless, or at least back here. It has a VGA output. It also has a, probably can't see it too clearly, but there's a display port output over here. This is the power on the end. Then it has 3 USBs on the back, 2 USB ports on the front. So this is just a little Logitech wireless receiver, the standard like you would get with any other Logitech mouse, keyboard, whatever. And this is the power for the VGA splitter. It's powered either from a 5-volt supply, USB, an adapter, whatever. For this, it's just convenient to power it off of here. The keyboard I'm using with it is just this little Logitech. It has the touchpad built into it. It's, for stuff like this, it is perfect because you're not using it a lot. We have pretty much just enough USB ports to make this happen. For switching the video, we have the A10 Mini Pro. 4 HDMI inputs on there. It has an HDMI output that we're not using yet, but that's something that I want to explore the use of as a preview monitor, so that whoever's operating this can see what the cameras are seeing and decide what switch to take, or what camera to take. It's USB-C output to the PC. Of course, power, and the nice thing I like about the power on this, it locks.
It locks in, yeah.
This does have 2 microphone inputs on it, but we're not using the audio switching functions of this. For audio, we have a single device, and now because of the space we have here, we can get away with this. This is a Jabra Speak, as I call it, a hockey puck. This is a speakerphone that hooks up to a PC. So if you're using something like a Teams or a Skype or a Zoom or whatever, this works as your microphone and your speaker. In our space here, this is sufficient. Pickup on this thing is phenomenal. As far as picking up the room sounds, it is absolutely wonderful. You can put this in a good sized conference room, like in a business situation, and pick up the whole room. Just that one little device. So the cameras, the other set of cameras we use are these guys here. Randy had bought these, they're under 200 on Amazon when he bought them. They have HDMI and USB. You can use one or the other, not both. With USB, you can power it that way. You can also power it. It has a regular standard barrel connector on it, and that's how we power them. This one's capable of zoom. So this is our tight camera. And then these are more wide shots.
And these are better than Canon Vixia's. Why?
Because they're cheaper. When you're doing stuff on as small of a budget as you have, being able to do stuff, get stuff like this really is useful. We have a third camera that sits back there, and that's more of a wide view of everything up here, but that camera is also adjustable. It's essentially a camcorder, but it also has an HDMI output. To get that signal up here, we have an HDMI extender, which is wireless. So this is the receiver side of that. We come HDMI out of here into the ATEM. Okay, so it's a wireless connection between the two. And according to the information online when I bought this, you can use several of these in the same location without interference. So you could have multiple extender pairs that would work with each other, but they won't interfere with each other.
But you're using that to bring the camera
into the
getting the
camera
ATEM.
Into the ATEM.
Could you
right.
also use it to take the ATEM out to a monitor?
Using it the other way around, yes, you could. So you would take the transmitter unit, which Randy has back there, you'd put that on your ATEM output, and then you would take the receiver unit and put that wherever it is you need to put the signal. So it saves you from having to run a nice long cable.
I saw a bunch of these online for about 120 bucks. Does that sound about right?
That sounds about what I paid for that. We try to single source all of our power. And to do that, we've got a power brick here that is, I forget, 120 watt power brick, 12 volts, 120 watts. So the cameras are 12 volt cameras. The output of this, we go into this little Hydra cable, or octopus cable, whatever you want to call it. So we split the power output into multiple. Then we take extension cables, these are standard, buy them online, extension cables to take the signal to wherever the camera is, or to take the power to wherever the camera is.
And the point here is that if you have them all on the same box, they don't, you eliminate a source of interference.
Correct. So, a while ago, large TV was donated. It got donated to the store. So that's what we use for our display here in store. I ran a little cable down, plug into. It's just VGA into it, so it's not really super high def. We don't do any HDMI into it or anything like that. To do this, we have one monitor displays the zoom, the controls, blah, 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 blah. The other monitor is the Zoom meeting itself. That monitor is duplicated on a monitor here. A confidence monitor is what the technical term for them is. That is for the presenter. So they can see, basically what is going out on the air is the way it would normally be in a broadcast situation. So, and that's duplicated with what's up on the screen up there. So these two will display the exact same image. And we do that by using a VGA splitter. So this guy here is a VGA splitter. One input, two outputs. It's a powered splitter as opposed to a passive splitter. You want something like this to do this type of a setup for a couple of reasons. First off, it regenerates the video signal. So by amplifying it and regenerating it, the signal you get out of each of these ports is the same as goes into this port, and this port can't affect this port and vice versa. Whereas if it was just a bunch of wires, something happening here affects this, and it's, yeah, not good. So the way we have this, output number one, because this is the output that will pass through to here for the monitor detection that the operating systems can do and decide what. So output number one goes to the big monitor up on the wall. That's the one we care about how it looks.
Right.
Output number two normally goes to what we call a confidence monitor. So the confidence monitor is something that the host or the presenter or whomever can look at to see what's on the air, so to speak. We wouldn't, if we had somebody running a lathe, they wouldn't be seeing the monitor anyway, because that, we don't want their attention to be distracted and looking at the monitor. We want them to be focused on the lathe, what they're doing there. We don't need any accidents because of our video setup. And then normally the normal setup, this monitor here would be strictly the zoom controls, the gallery stuff, things on here, not what we're sending out, just for the zoom operator who's going to stand here and be able to run zoom or sit here on a stool, whatever, and run the switch and all of that stuff.
So you're not using an HDMI splitter in here?
No.
You could,
no, we didn't go HD the whole way. To be honest with you, it's really not necessarily something that's that I think would be noticed. So
so you have a combo of VGA and HDMI,
right,
and DisplayPort, yeah,
right. So yeah, so the DisplayPort we adapt over. So HDMI is all the inputs, and then DisplayPort and VGA are the outputs. Yeah, so this should duplicate what's up there. Yes. Randy, do you have that camera in the back turned on? Do you have the lens cover open?
Yes.
Put a sealer on first. Okay.
Yeah, it should be transmitted.
Why do I not see anything in the camera app here on, and the receiver is not showing the power. Let me turn the receiver on. You didn't see that.
That's exactly what I want. Everyone does this.
I know.
And we need to know that it's okay.
I've been doing AV stuff for at least 30 years. Well, no, maybe closer to 40, because I also ran the AV stuff in high school, so it's been a while. And yes, I forgot that. You have to remember, power doesn't jump very far, so if you don't put a power cord into something, it will not power up. I will guarantee that 100% of the time. So here, this is the picture coming from that far camera through the extender. Now you saw when we first powered it up, it said about connecting there. So the two of them will talk to each other and find their, synchronize, et cetera, et cetera.
And that image is showing up here on your desktop monitor, and it's showing up here.
It's showing up there as well.
On the big screen that's looking at
right.
the Yeah.
So you're seeing it in both locations. I'm looking for a cable, an adapter that I cannot find at the moment. So that PC that we're using, the output on it, it has a VGA and it has a DisplayPort connector on it. So at any rate, welcome everyone. The meeting minutes for last month's meeting were distributed via, I know you can't see what's on Zoom right now. That's part of the problem we're having. So I will fix that once we can fix that.
We have since put a marker on the account for any transaction over $50 is going to get flagged on my cell phone to make sure this doesn't happen again.
All right, guys, you have to bear with me for just a moment here. We're having the PC that we normally do Zoom on has decided it wants to update right now.
So I'm going to switch over to my laptop here to do it from. So oh, there's still more in there. All right, so you're going to have to go back and adjust that camera. Are you hearing nothing? Am I even seeing us there?
Nope, he's not getting us.
No. Okay, that's good.
We better?
Okay.
All right. So Bob, if you could give us your report, please.
Okay, the balance in the checking account as of May 31st.
Program.
Only had a couple of items here. The next meeting on July 23rd, I don't have the time on that, Tim. What was it? Would be that how do you take a chunk of wood, a log, look at it and cut it so that you have a good piece to start with.
Got another hand back there.
Yeah, I know we've done this before, but I like to see how people take hunks of log and approach it, and how they think, okay, I'm going to do this, and that can be done either with photos of how they've done previous projects.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
People are coming out on the 23rd. I have hackberry, maple, and beech available. It'd be great if they would bring their chainsaws, but they can take what they want of that. I've got a lot of it.
Thank you. Been a long week. I may have come into the holy grail of cherry burl wood. Anybody excited yet?
Oh, I am.
I hope.
Sit down.
Anybody?
And we also have a new member, Janet. You want to stand up and introduce yourself, please?
Hello, my name
Welcome. Well, welcome to the Mid-State. Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Seen any wood? See.
We used to be able to say show and tell. So this one was probably done by Troy. That's it. Toby.
Yes, it's maple burl. I believe I cored two other pieces from the center of the dyed blue.
Yeah, there's one. That's the one I wanted to explain. We're going to talk about sharpening now. But there's another safety caution I want to mention is that what do to do with this.
No.
Here's a tip for anybody who's interested. On my bar for my Wolverine jig.
That's it.
How many pieces of cherry do you want?
A lot.